I'm starting off with my hue, my white to make my tints, and my black to make my shade. Then I'm going to fold the bottom of my paper up about 2 inches, 3 inches possibly. And that's going to be the bottom where I start my picture. You have to open up your paper again. Then my first step is to take my hue and mix it in with my white. When I mix it, I always mix towards the center so that I keep a pile of paint and I don't spread it out. If I spread it out, I'm not going to have paint to use later. So I keep mixing towards the middle of my pile, okay? And then once I have a really light tint of green, I'm gonna come back to my paper and start along that line and paint sort of like a semicircle here. Okay? And now to start making my different tints and shades, I have to keep adding my hue to my tint to make it a little bit darker each time. If it looks about the same color, I might add a teeny bit more. But the point is to just gradually change the color. You only want to change a tiny bit at a time. And then I'm going to put my next one right over top of my first. So you can barely tell a difference there. Then I'm going to keep taking my hue, mixing it in, and always I'm mixing towards the center of my pile so that it's not spreading out too much. And then each time I'm going to do a new layer that should be just a teensy tiny bit darker than the last. See, it's getting a little bit darker here. The point is to barely be able to tell how our value changes. We should just be changing a teeny tiny bit each time. And then as I add more hue, my color is going to get a lot brighter. And then I think I'm just going to add it one more time before I just use my natural hue. And now that I'm about here, once I'm almost touching the sides, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to use just my hue this time. This one can be a little bit thicker than the rest. So you can see how I have that gradual change there. I might even make it go just a little bit taller on the top. Like this. And then once it touches both sides is when I'm going to start to add my shade. So now it's pretty much touching both sides of my picture. If it's not yet, I'm just going to go ahead and make it do that. And now I'm going to start to change a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of my black, just a teeny tiny bit. And again, mix towards the middle because black really darkens it quickly. And then I'm going to start making my darker colors. So a little tiny bit of black goes a really long way in this project. Okay, and you can see again, now it's starting to get darker. This is where we're making our shade. If you notice, I'm also not leaving spots in between where there's no color. So you have to be very careful not to leave any empty spots there. Ooh. And if you make a mistake where you add a little bit too much black, it's not a huge deal. We can just go ahead and grab some green and add a little bit more to it. So I will grab that really quickly. There we go. Put a little bit more on there. And that's a great color. And now I can also start making my layers a little bit thicker. Like that. You can see it's looking really nice. Okay, and then each time I'm just going to add a little bit more black to make each layer just a little bit darker. And then at the top, you'll keep going until all the way up here, it should be entirely black.